This is the 11th lecture in our review. Before we start hammering out some Algebra 1, we're going to discuss fractions, decimals, and percents. And it's important that you understand how to convert between the three of them. So first, I want to look at pictures of each of these. And the pictures that we're going to look at are going to be just simple circles with examples. And you'll see what I mean in just a minute. All right, so we got 3 pies here. And the first one I'm going to divide in half. So we can see that the fraction is 1/2. So here's the picture, 1/2. So we have 2 parts, and one of them is shaded. So there is the fractional part. And then we have, go on and look at 1/3. And just pretend that's a nice pretty 1/3. It's pretty close. So here's 1/3. And then the easier one of the two other than 1/2 is 1/4. So there's 4 parts. One is shaded. Okay. Now, so I want to know about the decimal form of these. And to do that, we're going to divide the denominator into the numerator. In other words, we're going to turn it clockwise. So if we turn this clockwise, notice it's going to look like this. The 2 is going to be on the outside. If I turn it this way, like that, okay, the 2 is going to be on the outside, and the 1 is going to be on the inside of it. Okay, so 2 is dividing into 1, and we divided decimals already in the review, so we know that we just put the decimal point just above where it's at. And 2 does not go into 1, but it does go into 10 5 times. And 2 times 5 is 10, and we can see that the decimal form of 1/2 is 0.5. So that's the decimal. I'm going to skip 1/3 for right now. Let's do the same thing with 1/4. Remember, if I turn it sideways, the 4 is going to be on the outside to the left. So it's going to be 4. Let's see if I can get this back to where it was. 4 going into 1.00. And the decimal comes straight up. 4 does not go into 1, but it goes into 10 twice. And 2 times 4 is 8. 10 minus 8 is 2. So now we'll go 4 into 20. 4 goes into 25 times, and 5 times 4 is 20, and we have no remainder. So we can see that this is 0.25. Okay, now, 1/3 is a little different in decimal form than the others. And in fact, more decimals are like this than they are going to be those that terminate. So again, the 3 is going to go on the outside if I rotate it. 1.00. Okay. The decimal point comes up. 3 does not go into 1, but it goes into 10 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9, and we get 10 again. And 3 goes into 10 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9, and we get 1 again. And we could go on forever and ever and ever in the same pattern and keep getting 10 again. So it can conclude that this 3 repeats indefinitely. So what we're going to do is we're going to use what's called a repetend. And I'm going to write that word, repetend. And that indicates that numbers repeat indefinitely. So this like that. Okay, so now we have decimal forms for all of these. Now the last one, and we're going to start with the fraction, but we're going to see real quick that the decimal is a whole lot easier to understand. Per cent. Per cent. Well, how many cents are in a dollar? How many centuries How many years are in a century? Cent means is a prefix for hundred. So percent means out of 100. And we've already built up fractions a little bit. We did that when we did the equivalent fraction in the previous lecture. Well, 1/2 is how many out of 100 is what we're asking for. Percent. How many out of 100? Well, 2 divided by 100 is 50, right? Half of 100 is 50. So if I multiply 2 times 50, I get 100. But what if, to keep the fraction equivalent, I have to multiply it by the numerator also. So we can see that this is 50 out of 100. So 1/2 is 50%. What about 1/4? How many out of 100 is 1/4? Well, 100 divided by 4 is 25. So if I multiply the denominator by 25 to get 100, I multiply the numerator by 25 as well. And we get 25 out of 100, which is 25%. Now, I want to look now. This was the hard way. We're only going to do this once, okay? But if I start at the decimal form, notice that the percent, all I'm doing is multiplying by 100, moving that decimal point 2 places to the right and putting a percent. So to convert a decimal to percent, we move the decimal place 2 places to the right for 100, multiply by 100, and add a percent. 50, I move the decimal 2 places to the right and put a percent. So 1/2 is 0.5, 50%. Well, same here, except just remember that these guys repeat indefinitely. So if I move that decimal 2 places to the right, I get 33.33 bar percent. Okay? 33.33%. All right, let's try some little harder examples here as far as converting from percent, decimal to fraction and percent. Let's convert these fractions to decimal and percent. Convert to decimal and percent. Okay, so the first one we're going to look at is 5/8. I want to convert 5/8 to a decimal and a percent. Okay, so remember this 8 comes out to the left and the 5 is on top. And I might need some more than that. Okay. 8 does not go into 5, but it goes into 50 6 times. And 6 times 8 is 48. And now we subtract and get 20 left. 8 goes into 20 twice. 2 times 8 is 16. And then we get 40 left. So we can say that 5/8 is 0.625, which is also, if we go to percent, we just move this decimal place 2 places to the right and add a percent sign. Okay, so those are the 3 forms of 5/8. All right, let's try a little harder one. Let's try 7/9. 7/9. Okay, 7/9. So we're going to take 9, because it's on the bottom. It goes on the outside. I might need to move that over here a little bit better. All right, we'll try this way. Okay, 9 goes into 7, none, no times. But 9 goes into 70. 9 goes into 70 7 times. And 6 times 9 is 7 times 9 is 63. And look, we get a 70 again. And we're going to keep getting a 7 over and over again. And you can see that if it ends in 9, it's going to have 7s on top. So 7/9 is, and this is going to repeat forever, 0.77 bar. Okay, which is, if we move this to the right, 77 point. Now remember, this repeats, so there's sevens all the way till the end of time, just like that, percent. Okay, easy does it, right? All right, now the next part I want to discuss here, well, I want to go back, start at a decimal and go back to fraction. I want to start with a decimal and go back to a fraction. Okay. I'm not going to worry too much about percent because all we're doing is moving the decimal. Converting from a decimal to a fraction is not always the easiest thing. Okay, let's start with 0.65. Okay, so this terminates, so this decimal is actually read 65 hundredths, so it's 65 over 100. Now what's wrong with this? And we just need to reduce it. Both of these are divisible by 5, so if we divide by 5 on the numerator and divide by 5 in the denominator, 100 divided by 5 is 20, and 65 divided by 5 is 13. And that is reduced, so 65 hundredths is 13 twentieths. Let's try another one. Let's try 0.018. Okay. So this is 18 thousandths. So notice that there's 3 places after the decimal point where this thing starts. So that means there's going to be a 1 and 3 zeros. And then the top is 18. Okay. Both of these are even. 1,000 is only divisible by 2 and 5. So if this is only divisible by 2, it's going to be 9 over 500. 9 500ths. Okay, let's get a little bit harder. What if we have 0.8 with a bar over it? Okay, now this is where we get a little tricky. A little tricky. If I let this number, I'm just going to say x is equal to 0.88 with a bar over it. Okay. Now, if I multiply both of these by 100, I want you to, okay, 100, that means I have 88.88 with a bar over it, right? Okay, so I want you to think about subtracting these two. If I subtract these two, this side, this part subtracts from this part. Okay, this repeats forever and this repeats forever. So we're left, if we subtract this side, we have 88, right? 88. Now let's subtract this side. This side would be 100 minus, that'd be 99x. Okay, so now, so if you see this repetend, you're going to put what's under the repetend over that many nines. And this is why. So this is going to be 88 over 99, which happens to, both of these are divisible by 11. 88 divided by 11 is 8, and 99 divided by 11 is 9. And notice that this is 8 ninths. 0.8 bar is 8 ninths. Okay, so let's say we got 0.147 with a bar over it. So we got 3 numbers under a bar. This means we're going to have 147 under 3 nines. Okay, now this 999 is definitely divisible by 3. Okay, definitely. It's also divisible by 9, but let's divide both of these by 3. The bottom divisible by 3 is easy. It's 333, right? If I divide all that by 3. Now this one, well, let's just think about 150. How if I divide 3 into 150, I have 50. And so that means 49 times 3, which is 1 less than 150. 1 3 less than 150 would be 1 less than 50, which is 49. And 49 is 7 times 7. 333 is not divisible by 7. So that is how we reduce that. Let's try one more just so we can get the hang. How about 0.85 with a bar over it? Okay. This is 85. 85 is 17 times 5. And 99 is 9 times 11, or 3 times 3 times 11. So we can't reduce this. So 0.85 with a bar over it is that. Okay. So let me just real quickly go over percent to a decimal. If I take 0.83 and I want to change that to percent, I move the decimal to the right. I move the decimal to the right and put a percent sign. Now to go backwards from percent to decimal, we move the decimal to the left twice and drop the percent sign. So if I have 99, if I'm 99% sure of something, I drop the percent and I move the decimal 2 places to the left. So 99 is 0.99%. Okay, so that's going to do it for decimals, percents, and fractions. Lecture 11. Lecture 12, which is coming up, will be about multiplying fractions. I look forward to seeing you there. We only got a few more of these reviews before we start diving into the Algebra I. Multiplying fractions is the next lesson. I look forward to see you there.